Jan Miner, let's talk about Lora Lawton. Now, this was one of the top soap operas, I must confess, and I think
very early in the morning. I know that. It was like 10 o'clock in the morning.
I didn't follow the adventures of Lora Lawton, but perhaps...
Wasn't easy. We did everything.
What was the character like, or what was the situation?
She was a
generally?
marvelous, wonderful, beautiful, lovely lady. She's what all of us would like to be as women, you know, understanding, sympathetic, able to go through crises of all kinds.
Well, and what were the crises like?
I remember one day Lora was visiting a friend who was dying of a dread disease in the hospital. After talking with her for a while as best she could, where, as a matter of fact, Mary Jane Higby played the friend who was sick, and she was going all the time in the deathbed. And I looked down and said, "Oh, Elizabeth Manning, what a beautiful, complete replica of Queen Hatshepsut's pin she was wearing." It was a giveaway that we were giving away, and people would write in and get it, but always it would happen in some tragic moment so that you could hardly say the words, you know. And I got caught on the Hatshepsuts, and I said, "Queen Hatshepsut," and Ray Johnson broke up laughing. Mary Jane was dying, laughing. Everybody was laughing on that microphone. It must have been tragic to the listeners who were really involved with the situation.
Yes,
you know,
I can imagine.
Having us all go, and Rosario's organ playing big music to keep us from...
While families were prepping Thanksgiving lunches and dinners, morning soap operas took to the air. Opposite WOR's radio coverage of the Macy's parade between 10 and 11:30, WNBC broadcast Road of Life, Dr. Joyce Jordan, This Is Nora Drake, and Katie's Daughter. Then, at 11:45, live, coast to coast from New York, Lora Lawton signed on. It starred radio and TV legend Jan Miner.
Next, Lora Lawton. The makers of Babbo present Lora Lawton, the story of what it means to be the wife of one of the richest, most attractive men in all America. The story of the conflict between love and riches in a world so many dream of, but where so few dreams come true. Listen, ladies, listen. If you want your Christmas cards to be especially outstanding this year, if you want to save real money on your cards, then act immediately. And Lora Lawton will send you...
Lauren was a brilliant photographer for a prominent magazine and wife to the head of the shipbuilding company. There were many premiums offered to listeners by the sponsor Babbo, like here in 1947, when listeners were offered Christmas cards, just like the ones that brought Laura and Peter together again.
The very same cards that have brought so much happiness to Laura and Peter. They're large, handsome cards, the French fold type, each with a different design in full, brilliant Christmas colors. Some show Christmas candles, bright red poinsettias.
The show's producers were Frank and Ann Hummert.
Green holly and red berries.
The Hummert's radio ties grew from the prominent Chicago advertising agency, Blackett-Sample-and Hummert. Frank Hummert was a celebrated copywriter. His wife, Ann Schumacher Ashenhurst Hummert, began as an editorial assistant and quickly earned respect throughout the organization, thanks to her ingenuity, insight, and resolve. By the 1940s, the duo controlled 4.5 hours of national, weekday broadcast schedules. They brought in more than half of the network daytime hour advertising revenue, and their shows received more than 5 million pieces of correspondence annually. When they switched their productions from Chicago to New York, they began employing some of New York's most famous character actors.
Of these wonderful cards, enough for your entire list. Mail with your name and full address to Lora Lawton, Box 76, New York City 8. That's Lora Lawton, Lawton, Box 76, New York City 8. Send now and have your cards in time for early mailing. Offer good only in United States. And now, Lora Lawton. Official Washington has had to get in touch with Angus MacDonald, the brother-in-law of Laura's husband, Peter Carver, since the Foreign Office in London, England, evidently feels that Peter's disappearance has more significance than is apparent at first glance. And so Angus's wife, Gail, is hearing from Angus the news that Peter is missing.
Gail, you have to take this thing calmly.
I'll try to, Angus, but it's my brother. Where is he? What happened?
We don't know. That was Peter's secretary, May Case, on the telephone just now. She says they have word that he's safe.
But
Darling, look, why all this happened, I don't know. But I do know this much. It all has to be kept very secret indeed.
Why? This is Peter, my brother that this has happened to.
Nothing has happened to him, Gail.
Yet.
Well, I doubt that anything will.
Oh, you can be so wise and strong and intelligent, Angus. You can be so smart.
Gail.
Angus, we should go to England. We should go there now.
That's out of the question.
Angus, I sat here, planning Christmas with you. Planning it all around their coming home. Oh, there's one of Laura's lovely Christmas cards. I was going to decorate the staircase at their apartment, just the way she has it there, on her lovely card. And now...
Oh, Gail, dear.
What's going to happen, Angus? What's going to happen?
Meanwhile, in London, England, Laura shivers a little as May Case gives her a cup of tea.
I'm so cold, May. I'm so terribly cold.
Drink this, Laura, dear.
The shivering. It's nerves, I know, but if I could only stop it.
Relax, Laura. You have to relax.
Yes, of course, I have to relax. It isn't too easy, though, May, is it?
It isn't easy at all. But Ilseborg told you Peter was safe.
Yes, didn't she?
And all this is reaction.
Of course. It's just reaction.
And one day soon you will be together, you and Peter, and you will laugh at all this intrigue and excitement.
I know. Or Peter and I will be divorced, and Ilseborg, who loves him so that a light shines in her eyes when his name is mentioned, then she will have him, and they will live happily ever after, like the story.
Ilseborg may love Peter, but Peter loves you, Laura.
Dear May, you're sweet. If Peter loves me, why isn't he here? Why isn't he here? And why am I here? Oh, May, questions beat on my brain like an ocean. A strange ocean, all storms and tempests. No tranquil seas at all, May.
Laura.
Peter's in France, in a farmhouse on the coast. And for all I know, he's standing on some seawall looking across the channel.
Thinking of you, Laura. I'm sure of it.
Are you sure of it?
Yes.
How nice, May. How nice. And only the English Channel separates Peter and me. Only that. And it couldn't be wider. It couldn't be further away, actually. May, let's face it. We're worlds apart. Worlds apart.
That's right. And they had special format that made it a successful, growing concern. And the identification was one of it.
Right.
So when you tuned in, you always knew who the character was and what they were doing.
As far as Frank and Ann Hummert were concerned, they ran a tight ship, didn't they?
They certainly did, and they have very specific ideas and did a grand job. I mean, they
people
really had,
perhaps are
I think
wondering
they had
how-
5 or 6 a day. They had Stella Dallas,
Right.
Widow Brown, Lora Lawton, Amanda of Honeymoon Hill, Helen Trent, Lorenzo Jones, David Harum. They were all Hummert shows.
Yeah. How did they manage to produce so many shows?
Well, they had a group of directors and a group of producers and a group of writers. I mean, they had a tremendous organization. And then, of course, they had coordinators, and Frances von Bernhardi was head of casting, and she had assistants. And it was like working for MGM.
In November of 1947, the Hummert Production Company was responsible for 19 network shows, broadcast at all times of the day. It had been a good year for the couple.